Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a change in demand. And notice it's not a change in quantity demand, it's a change in demand. We're still dealing with supply and demand here, but our focus once again is on the buyer or the consumer. Now, remember that demand is the willingness, ability, and desire to buy various quantities at various prices. And remember that one of the last times we left off with demand was with the law of demand. That when there's a change in price, quantity demanded will shift. So price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Thinking like a consumer. So if something's at $5, the quantity demanded is 7. But if I lower the price to $2, then the quantity demanded will increase to about 20. And remember that a change in quantity demanded is a change on the curve. Okay, it's movement on the curve. There's no movement of this curve, it's movement on the curve. So we know that quantity demanded is triggered by a change in price movement on the curve. But wait, there's more. Let's start with she who shall not be named. She did something very impressive. She's got a concert tour. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Eras Tour. The face value average price of a ticket was $253.56. Now, however, people would often buy these tickets and turn around and resell them on the informal market, in the secondary market, by like using StubHub or just giving them to somebody for a price. This created an actual market for all the tickets. So what had ended up happening is this might have been the face value of the ticket, but the true market value of a ticket to an Eras concert tour date is $3,801. Now this doesn't make any sense, does it? Because wait a minute, if price goes up, shouldn't quantity demanded goes down? And price went up ooh, quite a bit, over $3,000. So shouldn't quantity demanded drop? And we know that it did not because all of the concert tour seats and dates were sold out. And that means there's something else at play, not just changes in price. I mean, think about when video games first come out. People paid basically the highest price possible for video games. If you'll wait a little while, the price will actually go down. But they're waiting in line to get the highest possible price for a video game. I don't get it. What about gas? Gas price goes up and quantity demanded almost doesn't drop at all. I mean, what's going on here? And the answer is that it's not just price that is the signal that is wrapped in an incentive. We have a difference between the change in quantity demanded, which is triggered by a change in price and movement on the demand curve. And now we're going to throw in a change in demand. This is triggered by non price functions, otherwise known as TIPSE, TIPSE. That's an acronym for some words we're going to be learning. And this is when the demand curve actually shifts back and forth. Okay. So what is tipsy? And for just a brief idea of what it is, and we're going to go through these all separately. T stands for taste and preferences, I stands for income, P stands for population, S stands for substitutes and complements, and E stands for expectations about price and future availability of the product. And all these things have nothing to do with the price of the item, but they impact the desire, the willingness, and the ability to purchase that good or service. And what we do here is when there's a non price change, you don't see movement on the curve. You actually take the whole curve and shift it either to the right, an increase in demand, or to the left, a decrease in demand. So, what does that look like? Well, an increase in demand shifts to the right. And of course, as we already know, when demand goes up, price goes up because an item becomes more scarce. Okay. Demand goes up, price goes up. The demand curve shifts to the right. And then the reverse. When demand goes down, price goes down, and the demand curve shifts to the left. Why does it shift left? Because remember, this intersection right here is zero, and an increase in quantity goes that direction. So overall demand, regardless of the price, there are non-price factors here that impact goods and services, and they are making that curve shift. So once again, increase in demand, increase in price, whole curve shifts to the right. Decrease in demand, decrease in price, whole curve shifts to the left. All right. So let's start by taking a look at some of these. TIPSE, TIPSE. Number one, T, taste and preferences. Pretty simple, easy, smart. Whenever there's an increase in tastes and preferences, something becomes trendy, fatty, um, in serious desire, then you'll see an increase in demand and the price will go up. Case in point, Britney Spears comes out in 1998 with Hit Me Baby One More Time. Insanely popular. So what happens? Well, it has nothing to do with price. People just said, "Oh, I want to listen to more of her music." So demand for Britney Spears music, apparel, people started to dress like her. All this stuff that had nothing to do with price increased the desire for her goods and services. Demand goes up, price goes up. You also have a reverse occur. In 2007, she has kind of a nervous breakdown. She's suffering from addiction to pills. She goes and shaves her head. She acts very strange, very odd, and the public kind of comes turned off from her. So what happens? Change in tastes and preferences. The desire for her goods and services, her music, clothing, concerts, those kind of things. Demand goes down, price drops. Nothing to do overall with like the price, like a Britney Spears album. The price naturally starts to go down because less people demand it. Remember, demand goes down, something becomes or less scarce, and the price will actually drop. That's taste and preferences. Now let's look at income. Pretty straightforward, except we're going to actually separate two different types of goods and services here. In this case, it's normal goods and inferior goods, and your income is going to change both of these things. When we have a normal good, when income goes up, demand goes up. I get more money, my demand for normal goods goes up. When income goes down, the demand for normal goods will actually go down. I make more, I want more. I make less, I want less. But these are for normal goods. When we have inferior goods, these are goods where when your income goes up, the demand for inferior goods actually drops. And when your income goes down, the demand for inferior goods actually goes up. And here's a good example. A normal good would be steak. Income goes up, I want more steak. Inferior good, income goes up, my desire for things like canned meat actually will go down. But when things like recessions start to happen, or a lot of people get laid off or fired, when the income goes down, the demand for things like canned meat will actually go up. And the reverse actually starts happening. Like if my income actually starts to drop, of course, steak is going to be desired less. Income goes up, canned meat is going to be overall desired less. Other examples, restaurants versus cup of noodles. When income goes up, more people go out to eat. When income goes down, more people are going to want cup of noodles. Okay. Also, cars. Income goes up, more people buy cars. Income goes down, more people ride the bus. When the income's and again, you can look at things like this and say, well, like restaurants, well, wait a minute. I know some restaurants that are more expensive than others. And you're right. Like McDonald's might be one where when incomes start to drop, people go from pricier restaurants to McDonald's instead. So remember, think of this accordingly. Grocery stores versus dollar stores. Income goes up, more people go to grocery stores. Income goes down, more people go to dollar stores. Okay. Fresh meals versus frozen and boxed meals. Income goes up, you'll see a higher demand in fresh meals. Income goes down, you're going to see a greater demand in frozen and boxed meals. Okay. Brand name versus generic. Income goes up, more people will buy brand name stuff. Income goes down, more people will buy generic goods and services. Okay. So what we have here is income going up, normal goods, demand goes up, price goes up. Inferior goods, however, when your income goes up with inferior goods, you're going to want to move over to normal goods. So demand will go down, price will go down. When there's a recession and people are laid off and losing their jobs, their incomes actually start to drop. Income goes down, inferior goods, demand goes up, price overall goes up. Then, of course, during recessions, normal goods, because they're more expensive because I'm not making as much money, normal goods demand goes down, price goes down. Okay. So we have taste and preferences, we have income. And remember, in income, we separate things into normal and inferior goods and services.